the biggest surprise for me has been the sheer excitement of this community. My goal has been, just like I said in my inauguration speech, I want to make us realize that we are one Omaha and that we're all in this together.
All good work is done in defiance of management.
I'm going to tell you the truth whether you like it or not.
Go ahead, give me the finger.
The Dan Parsons Show.
Hey, thanks for tuning into the Dan Parsons Show. I'm your host, Dan Parsons. Hey, coming up on today's show, the return of Omaha Mayor John Ewing for the first time since being elected earlier this year. But before I introduce the mayor, do me a favor, hop on over to the Dan Parsons YouTube page, if you're not already there, and hit the subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. It means more than you realize. Okay, here's my interview with Mayor John Ewing. Enjoy. Well, John Ewing was elected the 52nd mayor of Omaha, Nebraska earlier this year, and it's my pleasure to welcome back to the Dan Parsons Show, Omaha Mayor John Ewing. Mr. Mayor, welcome back.
Thank you, Dan, and great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a busy person. I appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with our audience. Well, let's start with this topic. The Omaha City Council recently rejected a proposed ordinance to ban homeless encampments on public property. The council voted 5-2 against the ordinance introduced by Councilman Brinker Harding. The ordinance would have made it illegal to camp on public property and allowed for fines of up to $300 or up to 30 days in jail. The rejection came after months of debate and public testimony, with the council opting instead to support a 6-month pilot program announced by Mayor Ewing to address homelessness through a more coordinated and compassionate approach. So I guess my question, Mr. Mayor, is, housing and homelessness is a problem for most cities around the country.
Absolutely.
Can you tell our audience a little bit more on your compassionate approach and how you think it might have success?
Sure. Well, the first thing I want to do, Dan, is I want to clear up this notion that we aren't going to do anything about homeless encampments. I think the reality is it's just the opposite. What we have done is pull together all of the service providers that have outreach workers. And those outreach workers will be working in conjunction with the City of Omaha's program so that we can respond to the homeless encampments much more quickly than you can when you have a city department that for the majority of the time had one person and now has 2 people. So this gives us significantly more resources to be able to get out to the encampments when they're reported. When the encampments are reported, we are going to go out and offer people the services that they might need in an effort to try and get them on the road to permanent housing. That's ultimately the goal that you want for all of these people is to have the opportunity for permanent housing. So having said that, there will be some people who will take advantage of the opportunities for services. Those people, we're going to do everything we can to plug them in right away to somebody's program to start them on that journey. There will be some people who will not. There will be some homeless encampments that will actually not move. If that is the case, they will have been given a notice saying they have 7 to 10 days to vacate, which is significantly faster than what has been done in the past. So if an encampment has not been moved after the 10 days, then we are going to go in and actually remove the homeless encampment. Because as you look at this, you have to have a humane approach, not only to the homeless individuals, but also to the people who might have a business, who might have a home that's impacted as well. So we
Sure.
believe this is a more comprehensive approach that's taking into consideration homeless individuals as well as people impacted by homeless encampments and getting it resolved much quicker. Then, long term, what we're looking to do is work with a number of cities under the Urban Land Institute that have had success with their homeless abatement programs. So we can look at those opportunities and see what the best approach is for Omaha, and then begin to implement that process with these same service providers. These people have rallied to the call because they know that arresting someone who is homeless does not solve the problem. The first
Right.
thing you have to look at when you have someone who's arrested is it becomes a little more difficult, depending on the landlord, to be able to rent somewhere, because they're going to do a record check. And if they see that
Yep.
you have a criminal record, they may not lease to you. So we're moving them further away from being able to get permanent housing if we do things like that.
Mhm.
Secondly, if we make this a crime, then we would have all of the expenses that would be incurred by the Omaha Police Department in terms of their enforcement actions, them having to then take the property and put it into an evidence space. The people potentially going to jail for 30 days would be a significant expense for the city of
Sure.
Omaha, as well as if they didn't go to jail and somehow they came up with $300, that would be $300 that they no longer have for
Right.
other resources. So, from my perspective, it just doesn't address the problem. And so that's what the service providers believed as well. So, we're just looking at doing something that's more humane, that addresses the issue much more quickly, and then building some long term things that will allow us, hopefully, to move more people toward permanent housing.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a very well thought out, well researched plan, Mr. Mayor. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
yeah. Well, let's talk about the federal government shutdown, and the food drive that you announced. The Nebraska Department of Health and Human Services officially announced that SNAP benefits in Nebraska are on hold for November. And that's going to mean some pain. That's going to mean at least 150,000 Nebraska SNAP participants won't receive their benefits as scheduled on November 1st, just later this week. This is happening because of, one, the federal government shutdown, and two, the Trump administration's refusal to use a SNAP contingency fund that could pay out those costs for most of the November benefits, as other presidents have done in past government shutdowns. So I guess my question, Mr. Mayor, is you've announced a city-led non-perishable food drive in response. Can you tell us a little bit more about the food drive and how the city of Omaha is responding to the federal government shutdown?
Well, first, I want to make sure people understand when we are looking at this that a lot of the people that receive the SNAP benefits are actually people that go to work every day. They're called the working poor.
Yes,
And
sir.
so we don't want people to misconstrue this as a handout to people who aren't trying to make it on their own. These are people who, because of the job they have, aren't quite making enough money and need a hand up to be able to provide for their families. So that's number one. Number two, we've got some great partners in this community. And so what we looked at as we talked about this in our office yesterday was we want to help lead this because it gives the people of this community an understanding that the city of Omaha and the mayor's office and the city council is going to be with them in these difficult times. Then we're hoping that the other organizations that we're partnering with will be able to do some great things too in terms of their fundraising. We're committing $45,000 to this effort to the food bank because we know they have the ability to leverage that money and buy wholesale and buy more than individuals could actually buy. So we think that's a smart investment. Then we also believe that with the services that the United Way provides with 211 and their ability to raise money for this issue and get it to either the food bank or individual pantries, that will build capacity and give us an opportunity to really see how this works and make sure we get people to the right places so they can get food to feed their families. Then the Omaha Community Foundation is also creating a special fund to be able to take and get resources to give to the pantries or the food bank as well. We think by partnering, we get the opportunity to get significantly more buy-in from the community, whether they're comfortable with the United Way or they're comfortable with the Omaha Community Foundation. Then the food bank is then going to be able to actually look at partnering with the pantries and making sure they do everything they can to equitably distribute food to those in need. Once those things are done, we want to look at how long is the federal government going to be shut down? Is there any hope for some type of relief for the families in this community? If not, one of the things we talked about this morning is that we would continue to do this effort.
Yeah, that's smart. Well, it's tough times to begin with. I mean,
Absolutely.
prices keep going up on just food items and housing and other things in our community. But I think that's really smart approach because Omaha is and Nebraska is such a giving community, and we'll get through this. And any other impacts to the city, Mr. Mayor, from the government shutdown?
I really can't tell you that with any certainty. We don't know if it will impact federal funding. We don't know if there's grants that we've applied for that may not get decisions made. We just don't know. But the biggest thing we were concerned about was the immediacy of trying to help people be able to feed their families.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's switch to an issue in North Omaha. OPPD announced that they are delaying the vote on the North Omaha power plant transition from coal to natural gas. Of course, that was just, I think, yesterday. Of course, back on October 9th, the Nebraska Attorney General Mike Hilgers announced a lawsuit seeking to stop OPPD's planned North Omaha station transition, as well as to stop, his lawsuit would stop the utility from pursuing any, quote, environmental justice or other goals, including the net zero ambitions, if such policies would jeopardize electricity affordability and reliability. Of course, Nebraska, very unique. We're the only state in the country that has 100% public power, and there's a lot of benefits to that. And most notably, it's the constituents are the people who are set the price. It's those utilities' responsibility as a public utility to set the lowest price possible. But at the same time, we are moving backwards from OPPD's efforts to transition out of the coal-powered plant in North Omaha into not only a more efficient, but a more healthy. And so anyway, I'm just curious what your position is on this
Sure.
issue.
So one of the things that I believe is that we have to have enough power to power the city. And so I believe that OPPD has to look at that issue as well as the issue of the coal plant, and then looking at partnering with the community. One of the things I've talked to them about is I believe they're going to do a study to see when they could possibly switch the plant to natural gas or shut it down or whatever the case may be. I would just like to hear from them what that timeline is, and then see what can be done to partner with the community to come to a fair resolution. I think the other thing that has been talked about is community benefits, and I'm not sure exactly what that would be in terms of OPPD having conversations with the community about how they could partner and offer community benefits while they study this. But I think I'm not going to comment on the lawsuit because I don't know enough about that part of it. But I think we need to be able to resolve this issue locally in the city of Omaha with OPPD, which has elected representatives in this community. And then once we are able to do that, that should be how this thing goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and, there's been, years and years and years of studies done to show the harmful effects in Omaha from burning coal, and I think everybody understands that, and we were headed in the right direction to phase that out. And I think I'll slip into a little bit of commentary here if you don't mind. I think what's frustrating for us as Nebraskans is it's not like we're protecting our coal industry here in Nebraska. Shoot, we ship in coal from Wyoming, and instead of utilizing our natural resources to provide power. And again, I understand that's OPPD, a public utility, their responsibility to provide the cheapest form of electricity possible. But I just know it's been frustrating for those North Omaha residents and all of Omaha to see us, slip backwards now.
Yeah, and I would just say that I believe we can come to a resolution here in Omaha. I don't know what that looks like. I know it's going to have to be something where there's going to have to be open discussions with the community and with OPPD and with the elected board members of OPPD. But I think if we can sit down and people can talk and OPPD can take a look at what their timelines are and explain those to the community, I think we can come to a resolution. I'd rather do that than be mired in a bunch of lawsuits.
I hear you. Yep, I hear you. I found this story interesting, Mr. Mayor. In fact, I found it so interesting. We recently started our second season. This is the 101st episode or 102nd episode of the show. We've been doing it for a little over a year now. And when we redid our opening, we used a quote from Malcolm X. This quote: "I am not the kind of person who comes here to say what you like. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not."
Sure.
Malcolm X said that. And of course, Malcolm X, a revolutionary and human rights activist, born in Omaha, our native son, in 1925. Anyway, the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation recently announced the transformation of the Malcolm X birthplace in North Omaha, moving forward with a multi-phase redevelopment of the 17-acre campus to fulfill a decades-old effort to honor the civil rights leader. I guess my question, Mr. Mayor, as someone who grew up in North Omaha, what does this project mean to you? What does it mean to the legacy of Malcolm X in the city of Omaha?
Sure. So let me start with saying I'm absolutely thrilled that they were able to get the funding and now they have the ability to provide something to our community for an international legacy and to be able to have a visitor center and other things that will attract people to our community and then give people the opportunity to understand the full legacy of Malcolm X. I think that is absolutely amazing. I've been part of a recent celebration that they had, and so I'm excited for what they're doing. And certainly, if the city can partner with them in some way, we'll try to do that as well. But I am absolutely grateful that they have been able to take these steps. And I look forward to being able to point to it with pride as one of the attractions we have when I'm talking to people about how great a city Omaha is and telling people they should come and check us out. And even when they come for conferences or whatever the case may be, instead of just coming by yourself, bring your family, because there's things that you can do and see in Omaha, Nebraska that would be worth a family vacation. So
Yeah.
I'm, absolutely thrilled and excited for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Well, maybe just to wrap up, Mr. Mayor, what's the biggest surprise you've had so far in the short few months that you've been in office?
Sure.
What's it been like, and maybe what's one thing that maybe has surprised you?
Well, first I'll start with what it's been like. It's been absolutely amazing. I believe that all of the things I have done prior to this in my public service career and my volunteer service in Omaha has prepared me well for this opportunity. I think, secondly, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I didn't necessarily have this as a goal on my radar when I started for almost 44 years ago, but it's
Yeah.
certainly something that I've always paid attention to. I've watched every mayor that we've had in that period of time. And as I'm mayor now, I look at the things they did well and try to emulate some of those things and do it in my own way. Things that didn't go quite as well, I've tried to learn the lesson from that. But I think the biggest surprise for me has been the sheer excitement of this community. I see that everywhere I go, that people are excited to see me engaged and working in the community and partnering with so many of our organizations, whether it be business or the chamber or not for profits or just individuals, and trying to make this a city that is great in every aspect. And really, quite honestly, my goal has been, just like I said in my inauguration speech, I want to make us realize that we are one Omaha and that we're all in this together. And the more we can do that, then the greater opportunities we have to build something truly amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a great city. And I know many people, all of us are hopeful for continued success and wish you the best. And thanks for taking some time out to talk to our audience. I mean, we're a statewide audience, but I know we've got a lot of fans in Omaha specifically. So, Mr. Mayor, let's do this again soon.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your leadership, and thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Dan. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks, Mayor, for joining the pod today. I really appreciate your time and your leadership. Hey, thanks to the Parsons team who made this show possible. Chase Porter, who produced this episode. Ike Samanis, producer and graphic design. Kim Remington, the director of operations, and Penology Tech Solutions. And most importantly, thanks to each of you for tuning in. We are starting season 2, and we've got some great guests lined up in the days ahead. And if you like this video on YouTube, check out these episodes too. Okay, that's today's show. Thanks for tuning in. Now go do good things. I'm Dan Parsons.